following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys!
This is Mick Shots.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And it is 11:30 on a Thursday, and you know what that means. It's time for another edition of Mick Shots. It's an OTA, the first OTA edition of Mick Shots inside the SWBC podcast studio. And oh, there's Everson's favorite song right there. Right, Everson?
It is, baby. That is it.
There it is. It's a Victory Thursday here inside the SWBC
I don't know why we're playing
studio.
it, but I'm going to go with it.
Just
are
for old time's sake.
Back on the football field.
Yeah, there are football players on a football field here at the Star in Frisco.
And we have all members of Mick Shots here.
That's right.
Yes,
all accounted for.
Together.
So
we'll
y'all
see
were
how
here
long
last
that
week?
lasts.
We were here last week,
Okay.
Bill. And you better watch out because Chris Hall took your spot. And
did he really?
I got
I need to go back and
bunch
listen to
of
that.
compliments for having Chris Hall on the show.
Was he hosting
Wait, hold up.
Did he welcome
you don't
everybody?
get compliments about having Bill on? I mean,
or Everson?
No,
I mean, yeah. Well, see, I was here last time, so no.
That's like when you bring somebody new in, right? Yeah, they're used to the old stuff, right?
Okay. I thought you were
So
trying
I'm
to
Wally
compare.
Pipp.
Be careful.
So Chris Hall.
No, you're not, because I had to take your place.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So there's never any danger.
Yeah.
No, none at all.
None whatsoever.
That's why we let Chris just run with it. So Spags wouldn't have to talk too much.
Well, I can't wait to go back and listen to it. I was kind of
show.
busy last week.
He was good.
Yeah.
Where were you?
I was in San Francisco.
You were in Alcatraz.
Great town.
Mm-hmm.
Great town.
It's we had to have, it's a little. When was the last time you were in San Francisco? Well,
About 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I won't bring up the other times that you've been there.
No. I've had victories. I went through a Super Bowl through there. Come on now.
Yeah, you did.
Yes, I did.
I won't go.
Everything is not about Cowboys with me. It is here.
I was telling the story. Of course, the Mavericks are playing the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, and the first time that I was might have been the first time ever in San Francisco, was when the Cowboys played the Niners in the NFC Championship game into the '92 season. I spent a week out there previewing.
Those are good times.
And in fact, Everson, we went to Dwight Clark's restaurant there in San Francisco as we led up to what is still, in my opinion, the greatest football game I've ever gone to.
NFC title game?
In an NFC championship game in 1992.
Yeah, it was a good game because we won.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. That's
yeah,
why.
But he had an NFC title game.
That's right.
Yeah, I won mine too. Yeah,
That's
just
right.
wasn't with the star. That's all.
That's right. So anyway,
did you eat well?
Actually, no. We hit the ground running, and we never stopped running.
I figured you were in the wine country.
Yeah,
you had a day before between games.
At the hotel we stayed at in downtown San Francisco, it was probably on Thursday morning for breakfast. I got an orange juice. What else did I get? I got 4 things. It was some sort of breakfast, something. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Let me guess.
Guess how much? That's my point. I got an orange juice, a water
at the hotel,
a cup of coffee, and something to eat. Like a what it was a fruit little deal.
At least $30.
You didn't even get like a breakfast.
No, it wasn't even a breakfast.
Loaf. It was
and it was $35.
Bruh.
Yes.
Come on, man.
$35. The guy in front of me in line, he got one of my water was a 16-ounce water.
Oh
well,
wow. Yeah, you're being greedy.
Yeah,
that was an extra $5.
It was $5.50. It was $5.50. So the guy in front of me had just finished a workout, and he got the big bottle of water. Okay, well, I guess it's 32 ounce. It was $8.50.
Oh my goodness.
And he said, I'm sorry, I'm taking it back. I can't get this. Just a matter of principle. I can't spend $8.50 on a water.
I could drink out the faucet.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, that's what I was doing last Thursday.
No, don't get me. Let's go. Let's keep down this old man path we're going here. Went to DFW, ate at a bar. I had just a beer and some chicken fingers. $27 for a beer and chicken fingers.
Oh, I bet
appetizer.
Chicken fingers are probably $14.
It wasn't chicken finger dinner. It was just a few strips.
Yeah.
20, what did I say? How much was it?
27.
Come on, man. That's ridiculous.
Everything that I ate there, even at the game, I just went to the concession stand, whatever, and it was $30. And so that's just my standard. When I turn in my expense report, it's everything's $30 to $35. So
wow.
Welcome to the big city.
Yes,
that's
sir.
right. That's right. Yep.
And now get off my lawn.
Meanwhile, here, OTAs have begun this week, and it was an open session for the media yesterday. And I know Mickey Spagnola was in there. Oh, look at that legal pad. It is full of notes from what he observed yesterday during OTAs.
Yes, it was our first chance to actually watch them practice. Thought we'd be able to peek at them on Tuesday, but it rained and they
were indoors.
Go indoors and went indoors again yesterday. But yeah, it was good to see a little football action. Although, they don't. I think everybody needs to understand anything you read about whatever anybody did.
Tristan Hill beating Tyler Smith.
No pads, okay? It's helmets, jerseys.
Everybody calm down.
And shorts, okay? And when they were going team, most of it was half speed. I mean, when they were running routes, the DBs were, it wasn't like a hotly contested thing.
As well it should be.
Until the end when they were actually running routes hard and the DBs were covering.
The half speed reminds me of the story from Cowboys training camp from Jimmy in Austin. And I guess I won't say the sportscaster's name. And he wasn't here for very long, so it wasn't Dale Hansen or Mike Ducey or Bill Jones. But they were running like a 3/4 speed goal line drill. And the offense scored on every play. So
I remember that.
And so Ted Dawson asked Jimmy after the practice, he said, "Jimmy, are you concerned about your goal line defense?" Ted, that was half speed.
Hey,
and it's camp, It's camp. It's OTAs. Come on.
For the '91 season, I did a Sunday night segment with him after every game. Oh my gosh. He would ask.
Is that where you got this Mick rant from?
He would
by talking to Jimmy.
He would ask me. He would ask me what I wanted to talk about ahead of time, right? And so I'd kind of give him all the stuff. Then we get on the air live, and
I'm having Everson fix my headset for me.
We'd go on the air live, and he would not ask me anything just other stuff. And I had never done TV before. And the lady that came here with Jimmy to do some of the TV shows, Brenda Bushell, I told her, I said, "What do I do?" And she goes, "Answer his question and then say what you want to say." Like what you told him you were going to talk about, then talk about that.
Okay,
right?
So I digressed, and so take it from there.
So,
as far as what you saw yesterday,
yeah,
I just reminded me of that. I'm sorry.
I had another one for you too. But watching a training camp practice where the first team or the scout team offense was going against the first team defense, and you know what happens, right? You're supposed to run the play, throw the pass, and the defense intercepts, right? So the poor third-string quarterback was running the scout team. He got intercepted like 3 or 4 times, and somebody reported, thumbs down for whoever it was because he got intercepted 4 times. So anyway.
Or they'll have drills. Parcells would do the situation drills, and the idea of the drill is to
throw the ball
in the stands, basically. You're killing the clock, basically.
We're in San Antonio, and they decided there's 5 5 seconds to go in the game.
Okay.
You're winning. You got to kill the clock. And Quincy Carter drops back and throws it way high and out of bounds. And all the people start booing. Like, huh? You missed the receiver by 20 yards.
The crowd starts booing.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
They need instructions before the drills.
Right. And what he was doing is throwing it up high, and by the time the ball comes down, the
It's
game will be over.
Right. That's the
right?
point.
Yeah.
The crowd's mad.
So, but there was now maybe the play of the day, and this is what we talked about quite a bit last week because of Everson's sort of connection to Marquese Bell, this undrafted rookie free
By the way, his
agent.
mom and dad have both called me to make sure I'm looking out for their boy.
So they're in goal line, and it's 4th and goal at the 1. And Cooper Rush drops back to throw a quick out to his left to Dontario Drummond, a rookie wide receiver. And Bell is covering him out of the slot. He jumps the route for an interception, and he basically goes 99 yards for the touchdown, right? He didn't want to quit running, right?
Did he ran all the way?
All the way, right? And when he got there, he had to come back all the way, right?
Right.
He didn't
He's
give up.
tired.
He didn't give up the football. I said, "Oh, he's going to keep it as a souvenir, right?" And then when he got back to somebody that was, he handed him the ball.
My goodness.
And so when McCarthy was asked about it, he said, he goes, he was pretty impressive during the rookie mini camp, and he continues to stand out. And somebody said, yeah, and he would have had a touchdown, right? He goes, well, I think he stepped out of bounds. And it's like, let's not worry
Right,
about the
let's come
small
on, these
stuff,
some
right?
semantics
But I'll tell
right
you
now.
what, when you saw him jump the route and take off, we talked last week about his 4.41 speed. He's got 4.41 speed for a guy his size. He's been pretty impressive.
So is he as big as Javon?
Not as tall.
Not as tall.
He's 6'2", but he's 2.
Yeah, what is he now? Because we talk about the variation in his weights.
So he's 6'2", and I want to say 212, but he looks bigger. He looks like a linebacker. 6'2", 212.
Okay.
But
More like Wilson. More
Yeah.
like our safety Wilson. More like Wilson, right?
yeah, but just I don't know. He's taller, and when I saw him, I said, God, he looks like a linebacker. And then when they were talking,
a 4.41.
and when they were talking about him,
Legit. Thing.
Dan Quinn mentioned his name, and he goes, yeah. When I first saw him work out, I look at guys, and I want to see them on how I would use them on my team, in my defense. And he said, when I saw Marquese, I said, oh, he might be able to play linebacker, be that Jaron Kurtz type guy in my defense. And he said, so when he came here the first time, I had him meeting with the linebackers. I wanted to see how he would develop. So he was one of my guys that last Friday, when I wrote my column, I said, okay, keep an eye on these two guys, Marquese Bell and T.J. Vasher, the wide receiver, 6'6", out of Texas Tech.
Right.
He spent all last year on non-football injury. He had knee surgery, and you just look at him. He's always open, right? He's 6'6". Just throw it up. And he had a catch yesterday that got a couple wows from everybody.
Wouldn't you think that, God, he could do – I think he could really control things a bit better. If you're looking at that size and looking at that speed and his agility, not
4.5. He ran
not
a
just
4.5
straight line,
pro day. Yeah.
Not just straight line. I'm talking his agility.
Right.
You seem to – I haven't seen it. You seem to talk very well as Dan Quinn about his agility. I'd rather have him at safety.
Yeah.
When you have that kind of agility.
Well, when they lined up with the second team, he was one of the two safeties.
I'd like to see him playing the ball in the air down the field. How well do you play that? I mean, we can all look good, but when that ball's in the air, you have to know how to attack it. You don't have to necessarily make the picks. Of course, I'd love that, but how to attack it in the air, catch it at its highest point, those are the kind of things that, alongside the amazing stuff that you said he's doing, that's the kind of things that you kind of want to look for.
So you weren't here, but Everson points out that his roommate in college, Marquese
Bill,
Bell's,
okay.
his a nephew.
My roommate in college, his sister-in-law, that's her nephew.
Okay.
Okay, that's basically it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he had some insider information.
His mom and dad are calling me like, "Look out for my baby." You know. They
Well,
call
you
me.
can tell him about the interception.
Oh yes, yes. And I've been trying to catch up with him. I called him and he was on the elevator. And he couldn't hear me. And then once he got down, I tried to call him. You know, we just didn't hook up.
Well,
yet.
now you're going to have to come out for a practice.
There you go. There you go. Maybe we can finally meet.
So anyway, you mentioned Tyler Smith, and so I'm not sure when the last time he lined up against somebody at guard.
It was against. It was probably against Arlington Martin.
Yeah.
Now Arlington Martin has some really good talent, though. I
Right.
mean, Miles Garrett played at Arlington Martin.
Yeah, no, it's not about the talent on Arlington Martin.
It was when he was at North Crowley High School. Was the last time that he lined up at guard.
Since you mentioned the offensive line, when they first went out there, Tyron Smith, you're not going to like to hear this, but he evidently had some back tightness.
Tyron.
Yeah. And so he wasn't out there. I'll go over some of the guys that weren't out there.
Yeah.
But anyway, Matt Moletsko, their
let's go.
fourth round.
Fifth round.
Right?
Waletsko.
Yeah. He was and Ball were kind of sharing that left tackle spot. Connor McGovern was at left guard, Tyler Beatis at center, Zach Martin, and then Terrence Steele. So this is what normally happens, right? When they start these types of practice, there's a deference to guys who are veterans. Like, you get to go out first.
Because they know the system.
The rookie's got to earn his right. So Tyler Smith went out with the second team at left guard.
I like the fact that they're working him just at guard right now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 20 years old. Just turned
21.
Where is he playing? Where is he? I'm sorry, I was looking at my phone. Where is he? I was looking.
He's
at my
exactly what I told you they needed.
Guard.
Yeah. First round draft pick.
Yeah.
Guard.
And
yes.
If that
so we draft a guard as our first pick. I'm still trying to get over that.
And if that back tightness continues, he'll be a tackle.
Running out there and tackle. We'll be trying to make sure you say Tyler and not Tyron.
Tyler.
Tyron.
So anyway.
So that's when we get concerned about Tyron Smith's back tightness if they start working Tyler Smith at left tackle.
Although they want Waletsko to be the swing tackle. Mm-hmm. They think he's got the ability to play left and right. They're looking at Ball as a backup right tackle behind Terrence Steele.
I'd love to see this guy get in and play, man. Ball. Just get some
to see, right?
Quality time. I want to see some quality time.
Well,
you'll get it in preseason.
And you've got two tackles now that are both 6'8", right? Ball's, if I remember correctly, that was his size.
I don't want to be too big. I want to make sure Dak can see when he's throwing the ball,
and that they can move well enough.
Right,
they're both
to get out the way.
Keep up with Chase Young.
They're both 6'8". Yeah. Well, that'll take care of your blind side because you won't be able to see over there. Right?
Uh-huh.
So anyway,
well, I have a question. You know me, I'm a YouTube guy. Well, if you don't know it now, you know it now. Say the Cowboys signed Quandre Mosley. Is that true? Tell me about this guy.
Quandre Mosley.
Yes, they're talking about a guy, defensive back. I don't know if Chris knows.
Number 37, Mick? 36?
4.3, 40-yard
39.
Number 39, cornerback.
He had a pass breakup yesterday.
Now, what are you asking about him, Everson?
Yes, I was just asking if Spagnuolo saw him out there. Obviously, he didn't. He's looking at his notes.
Out of Kentucky.
Yeah, they talked about another one out of Kentucky.
That's a rookie free agent.
Yeah, he's a free agent. Oh, what the hell's wrong with that?
So's Marquese.
What's wrong with that?
Marquese Bell's a rookie free agent.
You got to show up before I'm going to memorize your.
No, I thought maybe with a 4.
No, here's the difference. Here's the difference. Marquese Bell got a little bit of money when he signed as a rookie free agent, right? And Quandre hasn't.
He got $15,000.
There you go.
So did. Yeah.
Was there any guarantee?
They guaranteed him a full year's salary on the practice squad.
Okay.
So basically, it's like, okay, we think you're good enough to at least make the practice squad. We'll give you 18 weeks of pay, which comes to about, now 18 weeks.
Well, you're talking about 18 times what?
It's like almost 200,000, I think.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, Everson, would you like to just be a practice squad cornerback?
I've been saying that for a long time. Sure, I said that last season, remember? I was upset about what they're getting just to be on the practice squad. Give me a break. They can have that $1,500.
He bragged about his signing bonus last week.
That $1,500, Gil could take that. But my boy Mosley, I have some good stuff on him. He saw 36 career games.
I'm going to keep an eye on him.
He only started like 4 starts. 3-year career at Kentucky. 69 tackles, 3 tackles for loss. He got sacked, 10 breakups. So you could just see he's just one of those young guys, came over from wide receiver and decided, you know what, maybe I can play defensive back. So we'll see. Kentucky Pro Day, 4'3", 240.
Oh, there you go.
Yep, 36-inch vertical. And he's about 6'1". 6'2".
But he didn't get drafted, huh?
Did not get.
Not there's anything about that, right?
No, of course not. But no, shut up. He just didn't have. He just didn't have enough time.
He didn't play
corner because he comes from the wide receiver.
Right.
So I'd just like to keep out on this young man. See what the heck he's doing. You never know where those diamonds in the rough come from.
So the other thing I think that stood out was, I think everybody's somewhat worried about the wide receiver position, and knowing that Michael Gallup is not working out. They lose Amari Cooper. They lose Cedric Wilson. So it's assumed that CeeDee Lamb, number 1 guy, and I like the way he talked about it with a lot of confidence, saying that's always been my goal, to be the number 1 receiver. Mm-hmm. Now, without Gallup there, James Washington shows up with a walking boot on his left foot.
Great.
And he's not practicing. Turns out he's got a strained tendon in his left foot. They don't think he'll be out too long. But he wasn't out there.
But at least you got to see the 3rd-round pick Jalen Tolbert making lots of plays out there.
Fortunately,
right?
Jalen Tolbert was working with Britt Brown doing rehab on the courts.
To set you up.
I know. He helped me out transition there, right? So when they first went out, it was CeeDee Lamb, Noah Brown, and Simi Fehoko.
How's Simi looking?
He caught a couple passes.
Okay.
And I have high hopes for him.
But he didn't get to play last year.
I know.
So
I wanted to see what he's got.
The rest of the receivers that were out there had a total of 16 catches.
Well, you hope
year.
you have enough depth that your 5th-round draft pick doesn't have to play his rookie year.
Right.
But apparently, as it stands right now, if they were to play a game this Sunday on Memorial Day weekend, your starting wide receivers would be CeeDee Lamb, Noah Brown, and Simi Fehoko?
That's right. If they started tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So
thank God.
It didn't sound like Jalen Tolbert would be. Mike McCarthy said he'd be back next week. But yeah, it wasn't a good visual at the wide receiver position, knowing what you had lost and what you were hoping for, and then Tolbert's not practicing and James Washington's not practicing. Washington evidently didn't seem too concerned about it, so we'll see where that one goes.
So you're good with the depth that's at the receiver position? Or is there a need to go get someone who has some playing experience?
I think they're going to keep an eye on it.
Is there a history of Washington's injury, that particular injury?
No, I don't believe so, or at least I didn't hear about it. Mm-hmm. So it didn't seem like they were overly concerned. But you would like him out there working as much as he can at this time with Dak Prescott, who last year at this time, they were keeping close tabs on him because he was still rehabbing from his surgery, his ankle surgery. Mm-hmm. But he was moving around a little and moving pretty well. But again, this will be, he hadn't had an off season like this, so that certainly helps him out to actually be out there working with these guys that they didn't have that opportunity much last year.
I know if it's up to him, he'd work the hell out of them in this off season. Just making sure we have timing. He's got to work with all the wide receivers, considering the many possibilities that are out there.
You know, they had a couple other guys not working out. Carlos Watkins, Osa Odigizua had a quad strain, and then Jaquan Hardy and Rico Dowdle were working with Britt, so they had some sort of sprains. Devontae Bond, a rookie free agent
from
linebacker,
Oklahoma,
he limped off at one point. He was kind of holding, I think it was his right knee. And Alex Lindstrom, another rookie free agent offensive lineman, had an appendectomy. And then we know Jabril Cox and Damone Clark are still rehabbing from their surgeries.
So there it is. There is your first open OTA injury report.
Which, when Mike was asked about a couple of the injuries, he goes, "What? We got to do injury reports for OTAs now?"
OTA, great. Jeez.
All right, we continue with more Mick shots in just a moment.
Brace yourself for an existential question. Has your butt been having enough fun lately? Have you been treating it well? Has it been going places? If not, then it's about time you start using SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the best way to get your butt tickets to live events. Just ask the thousands of other butts who have rated it the #1 ticketing app. So what are you waiting for? Download the app now or visit SeatGeek.com to get tickets to sports, concerts, and live events and make your butt happy. SeatGeek. Get your seat in a seat.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call. And teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
Back to Mick Shots.
K-Post Roofing and Waterproofing, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. From corporate homes to your home. Have your roof checked by choice, not by chance. Call now, 214-225-4860, kpostcompany.com.
So, when you were hosting the show a week ago, did Chris Hall do the reads?
No, Everson Walls stepped to the plate.
I sure did. Now knocked it out the box, baby.
I bet you did.
That's right.
Slow motion, but
it
was
slow
half,
and steady.
It was half
slow
speed.
and steady wins the race. Thank you very much. I recall that from watching cartoons.
Don't mention that to Rich Strike, by the way.
There you go.
Now,
so
Mickey,
look, I'm looking at these rosters here.
Yeah.
This jersey. So all these guys, Kelvin Joseph's got #1. Jordan Lewis's jersey number.
He was your number last year.
Yeah, I know. And now you've got some guy named Israel Mukwamu.
Oh, number 24?
Yes.
He was 7th round pick last year.
He
safety.
Changed. He was in his, I think, a 30.
Where did he come from?
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Yeah, he played corner and safety in college at South Carolina.
And they moved him to safety.
Yeah.
All right, I'm looking out for this kid.
Big guy. But, yeah, okay, so Kelvin Joseph's wearing #1.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Lewis is now wearing #2.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Brown is now wearing #3. And other DBs, of course, Donovan Wilson last year wore 6 and Trayvon Diggs 7. So what do you think about the single-digit DBs?
I love it. I really do. I called it corny earlier, but anything that can confuse quarterbacks, I love it. They don't know where they're coming from. They don't know whose numbers who. I think I'm more happy with the linebackers. having these small, low numbers, because that really confuses a lot of quarterbacks. You got Michael Parsons up there. Is he going to be linebacker or defensive end? Then you got Wilson. Donovan Wilson might come up and show in a blitz. Then he might be back in the middle of the field. You know, you've got Jabril Cox, number 14. You know, what linebacker wears number 14? He can't be a linebacker. Oh, there's the blitz. You see what I'm saying? So
that's why Tom Brady was complaining about it.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I really, if I would have been able to do that, I would have kept my number 9 from Grambling State University.
You wore number 9.
Number 9.
Who had 9 when you were here? Anybody?
No.
Mitch Hoops.
Mitch Hoops.
Yeah, I think I
be somebody like that, right?
Mitch. Yeah, I play with Mitch.
So this was funny when we were talking to CeeDee Lamb. His locker now is next to Dak's at Dak's request. And so somebody said, "Well, where was your locker?" And I was thinking, "Yeah, where was it?" And he mentioned, "Oh, it's over there where Braylon Jones is." And I'm going, I don't remember seeing him there. And it's like, no, because I wasn't in the locker room his first 2 years in the National Football League.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right.
Because of COVID in 2020.
Right.
So I have no idea where his stuff was. And
so whose locker was next to Dak's?
Amari Cooper.
So he's replaced. There you go.
And so
did they have a ceremony?
Yeah. So, and then I was looking for Dalton Schultz. Well, the last time I would have talked to Dalton Schultz in the locker room, he was next to the little walkway that goes into the shower stalls, right? Mm-hmm. I looked over there, and it's like, well, where's Dalton Schultz? Well, he's way down at the other end of the locker room, right?
With all the passes he caught, he should be on the other side of Dak.
And then it dawned on me, it's like, yeah, you know, other than when I was here with the rookies, I hadn't been in the locker room with the veterans since the last, well, it had been the day after they got beat in the playoff game after the 2019, was it 20? No, it was the last game of the season, 2019, right? When they finished 8-8. Mm-hmm. That was the last time we'd been in there. Because all the other interviews have been outdoors. Basically, one person comes out and everybody interviews them. So you actually had an opportunity to walk by and like talk to somebody without 20 people with you. It was a little different, but crazy. It felt right, at least.
So what did it look any different? I mean, besides people getting moved in different places?
No, just moved around. Yeah. Dak was in the same place, mm-hmm. And then a lot of the early conversations, especially with Dak and DeMarcus Lawrence. It was about the tragedy in Uvalde, somebody asked Dak, is somebody going to tell you, stick to sports, don't be talking about other stuff? He goes, I don't think anybody's ignorant enough to say that to me, just like that. I thought that was pretty good, and mm-hmm. And the other thing he said that it was, it stuck out. He was talking about gosh, we got to be scared to send our kids to school. Mm-hmm. He said, I'm almost fearful now to have kids. And, I don't have any.
Right.
And DeMarcus Lawrence talked about how tough it was to send his kids back to school. He's got 3, 4, something like that. Mm-hmm. And said he'd get in the locker room and call his wife. Everything okay? Everything good? Mm-hmm. So... there was a lot of talk about the effect of what happened there with the 19 murders to this point.
You don't have to
19 kids,
and with the 2
19 kids,
officer. Right. You don't have to have kids, just like Dak doesn't have kids to empathize. Of course, people always talk about how you can relate because you're kind of in a similar situation, but you really don't have to be. The tragedy is the tragedy itself. So
well, we've all had kids, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you think back, if you're a parent, gosh, and even Mike McCarthy told us afterwards that they had talked about him giving an opening statement. Mm-hmm. When he did his press conference, and he said that he said, I don't think I can do it. Mm-hmm. He said, I'll get too emotional. Well, he got asked the question, mm-hmm. and he got about 30 seconds into it, and he started getting real emotional, talking about, I've got a daughter or fourth grade or whatever, and he needed a few and 2 or 3 times he stopped, and he was pretty broken up just thinking about it, right? And then I think towards the end of when he finished it, he goes, "Well, I'm Irish, and when we get old, we cry a lot."
Yeah.
And I said, happens to us Italian guys
right.
too.
I was going to say, we all kind of cry more at this age.
Yeah.
I mean,
it just
it's
affects,
not just
it
the
affects
kids.
everybody.
I worry about, like, my wife works in a mall. I mean, you got people shooting up grocery stores and churches and all of that. So, just to be in to just think of that in any situation is really kind of tough. Like you said, call your wife. I mean, I talk to I call almost every day at work, just to check in, especially when I'm bored, and see what's going on. But otherwise, you worry about any situation where a lot of people are in place and can be hurt and be in this precarious situation just from going to work, just from going to school,
and
just from going to church.
And for these guys, I think the door opened Tuesday evening when Steve Kerr stood up there before the game. I don't know if you were there or you had to cover it, but he opened the door and just, went off. And people need to understand there's no division between reality and sports, right? It overlaps. These guys are living lives, right? Not just playing sports. And I was glad Dak said that. It's like, don't even, insult me that I can't have a say.
I think with fans often come to a sports event to escape.
Right.
They watch it to escape. Well, the people that you're watching, they're not robots. They're people as well. So what's their escape?
Yeah.
You understand? And when you're talking about Steve Kerr, with the history that he has, if I'm not mistaken, his father was killed in a terrorist accident or something like that. So
assassinated.
So that has nothing to do with a kid. That's his dad. And yet he still can feel it. So, the kids, of course, that's the main tragedy of it. But, I think the other tragedy is, where can we be safe? That's the problem.
It's like I was at the AAC getting ready to do a live shot at 4 o'clock on the Mavericks-Warriors game. And I'm sitting there
on that Tuesday.
And I'm like, and I think everyone, when you hear about it, and I just heard about it. Probably I was driving to the arena, heard about it, and it's you got this such a sick feeling in the pit of your stomach. You don't even feel like doing whatever it is you're assigned to do at that moment.
You just want to stop.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like. And Newey Scruggs and I and Mike Leslie, we were all on the sideline getting ready to do. And fortunately, they didn't come to us, obviously, because they were covering that event. And we're like, why come to us anyway? I mean, this is so trivial compared to what just happened.
Well, let's hear what Bill Jones has to say. No,
right. And we're supposed to,
I had to do a radio segment. I have one every Tuesday late afternoon with the radio station in Tyler, KTBB. And I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't know if I can. Fortunately, the subject didn't come up because I don't know if I would have been able to talk about it.
Well, that's the way I'm handling it right now. I'm not watching any of it because I'm sitting there. I don't want to put my brain around this evil that happened. I don't want to. And so it's too sickening to even hear the stories about it.
Well, when I was watching the news that night, one of the stations had a very young reporter.
Saw that. A female. Man, I was going to bring that up.
And I was
Go
like,
ahead.
She doesn't have enough experience to do this. And she got 15 seconds into it and was ready to break down crying.
No, she kind of did.
I mean, you're in there, you're you're around all these people that are mourning, and it just gets into you.
You could just feel it around. You could see it around her, and there's no way she was going to escape that.
Yeah.
I saw that, and to me, it just kind of lends to the tragedy. You know what I mean? Just how bad it is, and how much it affects everyone. I mean, what was she? Probably 25 years old.
Maybe. Yeah.
She's just out of high school 7 years prior, and she's looking at this, and I thought that was very poignant because it showed the emotion. I'm glad she broke down like that because sometimes you can't just do your job.
Yeah.
Sometimes showing that emotion was her doing her job. That to me displayed the tragedy itself. That was a mirror of what the tragedy was. So and she got herself together. She pulled it together. She did a good job, and she passed it on to somebody else. They came back to her again, and she was a little bit more steady.
And the good thing was when they passed it on to the veteran reporter, she covered for her.
She sure did.
That just shows you the emotion. And I thought that was pretty profound. I remember.
I don't know if if a male would have done that, but that was another female reporter.
I remember when I was in the practice facility when the roof came down. And I had just started doing stuff at the fan.
That was crazy, man.
And they immediately called me, and they wanted, to go on the air and talk about it. I said, you know what? You're going to have to give me a few moments. I don't think emotionally I can come out there and speak without making,
and it's
a fool
on site.
Right?
You're on site.
Your adrenaline was still going. So we waited an hour, right? And then I went on, and I was still having a little bit of problem talking about it, knowing, what had happened and what could have been. And so, it's a tough thing.
All right. We continue with the triviality of what we do.
Football.
Yeah, coming up here in just a moment here on Mick Shots.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man's Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with...
And I'm Jay Novacek, and we're both with...
United Ag and Turf, the official tractor provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
So, if you need a tractor to bale some hay, a mower to cut some grass, or a gator to get some chores done...
Get a John Deere at United Ag and Turf.
And then, let's get to work.
Hey, Jay, that's my line.
Well, not today.
Get to work with a John Deere tractor package that's just right for you and your budget. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar, and a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Back to Mick Shots.
Whether you're watching from home or cheering in the stands with Essilor lenses, you'll see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essilor experts and find the perfect Essilor lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
By the way, you want to look at the number 9s in Cowboys history?
I was trying to think back. The quarterback had 9.
I mentioned Mitch Hoops, didn't I?
You did, yes.
1975, Mitch Hoops wore number 9, punter.
So
when you became a Dallas Cowboy, number 9 was available if they let cornerbacks wear number 9 back then, because the next number 9 in Cowboys history, as far as a regular season, now there might have been a number 9 in the preseason, but the list in the media guide is just the guys that made the regular season roster. Roger Ruzick, kicker, so one of your teammates, 1987 to 89.
Roger was cool.
And then Cooper Kupp's dad wore number 9, 1991 with the Cowboys, very briefly. And, of course, Rodney Peete.
Right.
And then Daniel Gonzalez in 1998.
Now, my number before 24, they just threw me anything. I think it actually had a hole in the damn jersey.
24 should have been a wanted number. That's a pretty cool number.
They didn't ask me what the hell I wanted. I was
Bill will
undrafted.
look up the previous 24s.
They looked at me the way you look
video.
at me, Spags. Undrafted free agents ain't worth the crap. And they threw me a number 27. And I had number 27.
Ron Fellows.
Almost all through training camp. Ron did not have 27. I don't know what. I can't remember what he had in training camp. It wasn't 27. I had 27.
And then you ended up with 24.
I ended up with 24. I had 27.
Really?
Remember, he was a wide receiver as well.
So did he come in as a wide receiver?
No. He came in as a DB.
He was a wide receiver at Missouri,
right.
but they drafted him and said, we're going to
And so he would have had a DB number.
He would have had DB.
Yeah.
I can't remember when he came into training.
So they didn't think he was going to make it, and so they gave him 38.
No, he was a draft choice.
He was 7B.
You get drafted out of Missouri, you're making it.
He was 7A.
Yeah.
And Ken Miller from Michigan State was 7B, right? That's what they called him, 7A,
right.
7B.
First seventh-round pick, second seventh.
And by the way, he was a pretty good wide receiver in college.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
He was.
Well, one of those things about
speed.
him, he's got the, I told you about, he's got the inverted thing. His heart's on his right side.
I did not know
Yes,
that.
his heart is on his right. He's got I saw it on the TV as well.
Really?
Yes, he legitimately has everything is like reversed, I guess. You know, it's rare, but no big deal. There's no, danger.
As long as it's working.
Yeah, like it still works. It still works. They don't know how, but it still works.
By the way, that year, the 2 Missouri guys got drafted, first-round pick. Howard Richardson.
Yeah.
That's right, Howard Richardson.
Who's doing, by the way, analyst, he's the radio network analyst host for Missouri now.
And he was working with the FBI at one point, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was big time.
He was pretty sharp.
He was. He's still a good guy. Still a good dude.
Eric Wright got drafted in '81 also.
Now that guy there, that's the savior of the San Francisco game. Right there.
Got Drew from behind.
Got Drew. That's the savior of the San Francisco.
With a finger?
A finger. Today it would be called a horse collar tackle. Yeah, that's just how close it was.
Very interesting. All right.
So, two more things I got.
On your legal pad. We're emptying legal pad.
We were talking about how they were kind of looking for tight ends, right? They needed help at tight end. If you look at your list here, there are 6 tight ends that were on the field yesterday. Not only Dalton Schultz, but their 4th-round pick Jake Ferguson, Jeremy Sprinkle came back. Actually, had a couple catches yesterday. Ian Bunting and Sean McEwen, and then Peyton Hendershot was a rookie free agent. So
wait, where is he at?
40.
You can't just mention a guy.
49. 49.
And not explain that he's from Indiana.
Peyton
Hendershot.
There he is.
So
Jake Ferguson.
Yeah, they're making sure. And Ferguson looks the part. Now they gave him 48, but I give him credit that he in his rookie interview, or maybe it was last week in his interview, he knew that Darryl Johnston had 48. So, sharp kid, right? He knows his Cowboys history.
So you hadn't even seen these guys do anything, have you?
No,
you don't even know anything about these guys at all.
I mean, I know, a couple guys that I might have looked up, but
now Hendershot had 46 catches and 4 touchdowns for Indiana last year.
All right. Well, there we go. We'll keep an eye on them.
Mm-hmm.
They had a decent season last year, didn't they?
Yes, they did. The other thing I think of note, and the Cowboys haven't done this in a while, this training camp, they have 2 planned scrimmages. First with Denver. So the first preseason game is at Denver, and they're going to go a couple days early and have a scrimmage 2 days before the game with the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second preseason game is they break in camp. They're going to
the Raiders.
L.A. No, L.A. to play the Chargers.
Oh, that's right. Raiders are not out there anymore. Yeah.
Play the Chargers.
Do they still do training camp in California, the Raiders?
Oh, no, I'm sure not.
Okay.
After moving there.
Okay.
And they're going to scrimmage the Chargers twice and then have a day off, and then play the final preseason game or the final road preseason game, and then head home.
They don't play them in the regular season, correct?
The Chargers?
Yes.
Not this year.
Good.
But they
That's
did.
too many times.
They did last year. Yeah. So McCarthy said he really hasn't done this before, but after they did it with the Rams last year, and he said talking to some of the other coaches, he felt like it was a good idea.
What do you mean they haven't done this?
He hadn't scrimmaged teams before.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, he did back in the 90s.
Yeah,
I was going to say,
but not as a head coach.
Yeah.
He did it when he was in Kansas
City. So they
City.
stopped doing that recently? Because I thought that was the norm. I mean,
they had been doing it, but not since he didn't do it his first year, I guess.
Well, the pandemic.
The Cowboys did it with the Rams. Remember that year they called off the second one because of the – I was going to call it a riot. It was like a riot. They had
Jeff Fisher's Rams.
They had a melee out there.
Right.
Yeah. And the funny thing about that is, so I was over on – the field that it didn't start on. I was watching the Cowboys offense, right? And it started, and they were in goal line, right? And all the Rams, all but one guy, it was a veteran linebacker, all but one guy, their whole defense ran on the other field. Romo brought the Cowboys to the line of scrimmage and hiked the ball and went in for the touchdown. Right? And then we were running over to the other field, and I remember somebody yelling at us to get back. I said, "Don't be worrying about me." I said, "You got 60 guys out there swinging at each other, right?" That was scary. Because
so Romo ran the touchdown against no defense.
Yeah, there was one guy. It was the linebacker. Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
It was funny, but I don't think anybody saw it because everybody was running to the other field.
Part.
But the bad part was is it spilled over to the fence on the side of the field where the fans are.
Yeah.
And the fans were standing there, and all of a sudden they started like swinging at the players.
Why?
That Raider fans. Or Rams fans, I should say.
So wait, the way Bill kind of gave me this little notation here, you said Jeff Fisher's Rams.
Uh-huh.
What does that mean? Are you trying to cast some aspersions?
They came loaded for bear.
Mm-hmm.
It's a training camp practice. What is the deal?
Right.
Was he trying to prove something that year? Was that his first year with
LA?
No,
he'd been there for too long.
I think it was. I want to say I think it was his last year.
It probably was. Well, because
case in point, the coach that replaced him, he's done pretty well, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
Yes, he has.
Even he was
and by the way, Eric Dickerson is still coming to the games. Because if you recall,
he's still gaining yards on the Cowboys.
No, stop. hey, stop. I still have nightmares, okay? But no,
I think I had the year wrong. I said it was like 2017.
It doesn't matter.
That's
why I said it was Jeff Fisher's Rams. It was,
well, he ended up going off on Eric as well. He said Eric shouldn't, Eric was trying to criticize him or whatever, and he said Eric shouldn't even be on the sidelines. He said he can't even get a ticket to the game. And he said Eric doesn't belong on the sidelines. And next thing you know, Fisher's gone, and I think Eric is now in the front office. So
amazing how that happens,
isn't that amazing?
Right?
So yeah, I can talk.
So anyway, the Cowboys are going to have 2 scrimmages. And they're both going to be away ones. Last year it was a home one against the Rams. The other thing is the NFL and the NFLPA made a change to injured reserve for the last 2 years because of COVID. Guys only had to spend 3 weeks on IR, and then they were eligible to come back. This year it's going to be 4 weeks. And you're only eligible to bring back 8 guys off of IR. And you could bring back the same guy as many as 2 times, but both times count against your 8.
Say it again. Okay.
So there's a limit now on how many guys can return from injury reserve.
Interesting. Okay.
So, and it was 2 previous to COVID.
Right.
And you had to designate them when you put them on IR that they are IR returned.
And during COVID, it was unlimited.
Unlimited
They got to set out 3 games, but they can come back after 3 games.
Exactly. Now it's limited to 8, but you have to miss 4 weeks. So
you can make 8 moves.
8 moves.
Okay.
Yeah.
IR return moves.
And 4 weeks is what it was when you were playing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the team started taking advantage of that, coming up with phony injuries to preserve a guy's rights and figuring, okay, in 4 weeks, somebody else is going to get hurt and I could bring this guy back, right? And they actually started bringing, the NFL would bring independent medical person to view practice to make sure guys on IR weren't practicing and make sure that they actually had an injury. Because there was one year, and I don't remember who it was, there was a quarterback, they wanted to keep his rights, and they were playing a preseason game against Denver. And they basically told this quarterback, when you take this snap, we want you to roll out towards our sideline because our cameras are going to be up there on that side of the field, and grab your hamstring as you go out of bounds. He forgot to grab his hamstring. And I'm going, okay, if he can't remember that, plays aren't going to work. Plays aren't going to work.
Wild, Wild
well.
West. Boy,
okay, now you're talking about IR, like during the season, a player gets hurt and goes on IR, and now it is 4 games. 4 weeks, not games, 4 weeks.
From the moment you put them on.
Okay. What about PUP? And this relates to Michael Gallup, because in the past, if you went on PUP prior to the season starting, it was 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
And so Michael Gallup would have to miss 6 if coming off an ACL. If you put him on PUP, he would miss 6 weeks to start the season. What is it now?
It didn't say PUP. It said non-football injury.
All right,
NFI.
Here's what I've got. I'm just seeing a memo that's been released to the clubs or whatever, sent to the clubs. Players who are placed on reserve physically unable to perform or reserve non-football injury.
Okay, mine didn't say or.
At or after the roster reduction to 80 players. So that is back in preseason, because I don't remember what the date is. But that's not the last. That's not the 53-man. But so it's prior to the 53-man roster, which is equivalent to what has been done in the past as far as PUP goes. We'll continue to count again. Such players may begin a 21-day practice period or be activated after 4 regular season games.
So not 6.
So it's reduced. So in the case of Michael Gallup, the new PUP rules are that he doesn't have to sit out 6 games and be active on the 7th game. He can be ready on the 5th game of the season, which is the Cowboys open against Tampa Bay and Cincinnati, then at the Giants, Washington, and then October 9th at the Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams.
But
if Michael Gallup is placed on PUP, and
he will be, and I can guarantee you he will be.
Right.
But you also have that 21-day window to decide if you want him to start practicing. And then once he starts practicing...
So it could extend 8 weeks into the season, and you start that 21-day window.
It can actually extend...
I just threw that out.
You could extend it 9 weeks.
So what I'm saying is the earliest... If they put Gallup on PUP, the earliest he will be able to play in a game is week 5 at the Rams.
Right. And you wouldn't do that because you can't practice when you're on PUP. So chances are, if you're coming off a torn ACL and you're out the first 4 weeks, you can't practice, right? You can't practice in training camp. So he's not going to practice 3 times and go play a game.
Right.
So you have 21 days to decide when he's going to start practicing. And then after that, you get another 2 weeks to practice before you got to say, okay, we're either putting him on the roster or he stays on for the rest of the year.
I want to hear that ladder.
So you could stretch it out to like 10 weeks almost before you have to make a serious decision. The other change they made, and it was 16 players on the practice squad during COVID. It's going to be 14, and now you can elevate a person from the practice squad a maximum of 3 times. Prior to that, it was only twice. So you can move them without having to go back through free agency or waivers to get back on the practice squad. So that's another one. And now they've even come up with ramp time periods during training camp, those first 3 or 4 days where you're not allowed to put pads on. And you were supposed to only get 2 hours on the field. Now they've reduced that to 90 minutes on day 2, 105 minutes on day 3, and 2 hours the final 2 days.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
And
so less practice now, huh?
Yes.
Wow. This must be tough.
And then you can put the pads on.
Yes, that's so cool.
And practice squad, same, 16.
14. Oh, no. What
16.
did I say?
16.
It was 14 before COVID, and and then it was 16, and they're going to keep it at 16.
And you can, and a maximum of 6 veteran players can be on the practice squad.
Right.
That's the key on there, where you can actually have veteran players on the practice squad. Of course, they're subject to being picked off by another team,
right?
Just like any practice player is.
So I'm sure if you're putting a veteran there and somebody comes to try to poach him, it's like, okay, you can go, but we can pay you the minimum for 3 weeks.
It's so much better having the 4-week IR, rather than the old. I mean, for years it was just you could only put 1 guy on,
right? Then it was 2,
and then it was 2.
But before that, it was it was the season.
And I understand the stashing part of it, whatever, but it made no sense. As much money is invested in these players, and a guy gets hurt week 1, could come back 10 weeks later. You got multiple guys that are in that category. It doesn't make any sense, as long as the season is, especially now. So
the other point I was going to make also, the Raiders working out Colin Kaepernick.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
So here's what's changed. Prior to this, I'd never heard him say he was willing to be the backup quarterback, right?
Or make the backup quarterback
Now,
money.
That's my next question. Now he's saying, I'm willing to be the backup quarterback, so do you want to make backup quarterback pay? Or do you think you're coming back and making $9 million a year?
Well, there's a big difference between 2017 and 2021, 2022, right? Things change. I mean, everything changed for him. No luck, no look, no opportunity. Yeah, you're going to change. That's just the way it is. I mean, if you want to stick to the same script, then you probably wouldn't get that workout.
And what the Raiders have, they've got Jared Stidham as a backup quarterback. Nick Mullins is another guy that they signed. Whatever they've got, there's an opportunity there. Marcus Mariota, of course, was there last year, and now he's at Atlanta, and so there is an opportunity. The question on Kaepernick is you can structure a deal for him that because he hasn't played in the league in so long, he wasn't in the league last year, and so you can structure a deal that has an incentive-laden contract where he could have a base. The question is for him, is he willing to play, if he doesn't get in a game, at a veteran minimum base of whatever it might be, of whatever they agree to, it's $1 to $2 million. And then he has, based on number of games he plays, he could get paid $1 million a game, whatever they can handle or whatever they negotiate. Is he willing to do that kind of a deal?
Sort of what the Cowboys did with Andy Dalton. Basically gave him a $3 million deal to be the backup, but then it was so much per game.
How long was it? How long was he out? How long was Andy out?
He just came when he got released by Cincinnati. The Cowboys signed him.
Right.
Now this guy hasn't taken a snap in the NFL since, was it 2016?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, he said 2016. Yeah, 2016. That's the last time he played.
So that's a long time for a quarterback.
That is.
Not to see the field, right?
And that's why the song changed. That's a long time. He's a different. We're different from 2016 to now. It's something different about us, and especially if you used to be a professional quarterback. Yeah, everything changes quickly, and then that's for a long time. This guy waited. This is 6 years now.
Because I remember everybody saying, "Well, this guy's better than backup quarterback this team's got or the Cowboys have," right? And it's like, but does he want to be the backup?
Right.
or does he want to go someplace and actually compete for the starting job, which when you've been out that long.
I don't think it really would have mattered. I think the stance that he took, that pretty much sealed his fate. So it didn't matter what he said. It was going to always be something where, oh, well, this is what I heard, and then this is what I heard. So, when it comes down to it, all those, trivialities, it didn't really matter.
And the team had to be strong enough to say, okay, we're going to accept the backlash.
Right.
Because
there's
going to be a backlash.
Yes, it is.
Right?
Yes, it was.
And all of a sudden, that'll be center stage. Do you want to put up with that?
And now all of a sudden, once again, not only are we different, America's a little bit different from 2016.
Right.
You see? So that's the main thing as well. Hey, I got something for you guys. I had a little reunion. I know we got to go in a little bit. Had a little reunion.
A reunion?
Yeah, with Cliff Harris, got Dee Dee Lewis, Leroy Jordan, and Charlie Waters. We were all at the Stallings Awards.
All right.
Yeah, it was held at the Dallas Country Club. I was out there.
The Stallings Awards.
The Stallings Award.
As in Gene
Stallings Award. Yeah, let me get some pictures. There's old Gene with me and Chuck. Me and Charlie Waters. That was a nice little
How's he moving along?
Both of them moving pretty slow.
Slow?
Yeah, but Gene's got a cane.
Oh, does he really?
Charlie doesn't. That's the only difference right there.
Well, Charlie's close to having
Yes, he is. That's the only difference. But I saw he and Cliff, and we all sat together. Our wives talked to each other, man. We had such a great time.
And what was the award? The award went to?
The Johnny Stallings Award went
for his son.
to, I'm going to see if you
Luke
can
Fickle?
recognize. Shut up, man.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna tease you with this one and say, can you recognize that guy? Well, I guess you can. And I took a better picture with him, a selfie, and that was pretty cool because he and Sean Springs were teammates.
Oh, okay.
So we talked a lot about Ron, talked about a lot about the kidney donation and things of that nature. So
Who was teammates with Ron?
Fickle with Sean Springs, Ron's son. Ron Springs' son, Sean Springs.
That went right over.
Yeah. That's okay.
Well, that's cool. I didn't realize they had one of those.
Yeah, you weren't invited. That's why.
I should have been. The rest of the world would have known about it.
That's right. So that was good stuff, man. We had
I'm glad to see Gene's,
this past Tuesday.
It was.
Gene has not changed, not one bit.
It was 4 or 5 years ago. We did a legend show on him, and we went out to his place in Paris.
Yeah.
And so he's got a big spread.
Yes, he
right?
does.
It's huge.
Yes, he does.
And there's fences up, and he was talking about. And I said, so who rides out there and repairs those fences? Well, I do. I go, what do you mean? I go. He goes, I get on my horse and I ride out there.
So about how old was he then?
So he had to be in his 80s.
See, that reminds me of when Wade Phillips got the job here, and we went to Bum Phillips Ranch down south of San Antonio, I believe Goliad, Texas.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was no more hospitable person in the world than Bum and his wife. I mean, they offered to even put us up for the night. We were just going on a day trip down there, do a story on him, whatever. When we got there, Bum Phillips was out on his horse. I mean, he was. I'm looking up now how old he would have been then, but he was probably in his 80s. And I'd
be remiss if I didn't mention Ruth Ann as well, Gene's wife. Still looking great.
She was great when we did the interview.
Yeah.
If there was any lapses in memory, she piped right in. Right.
Yeah, she's still sharp.
So Bum was born in 1923. And so he would have been 84 years old then.
Now look up Stallings.
All right.
And so when we finished, and we must have spent 2 hours in his house. I think Chris was with us, I think.
Mm-hmm. I don't think so.
Oh, you weren't? Okay.
Gene is 87.
87.
Turned 87 in March.
So this would have been at least 80.
Okay.
And we got done with the whole thing, and he's giving us directions on how to get out of here or whatever. And he goes, well, wait, let's go to lunch. And he took to the place that he goes to lunch probably every day, right? and we had lunch with him at
Dude,
this
I'm sure he couldn't wait to have you guys down
place.
there. Just have some, some company and some visitors and show them off to the old school people in the neighborhood.
You know, when you go into guys' houses like that, it's almost like going into a museum because they've got all this memorabilia, right, and all this stuff from Alabama.
And they put up only the best and most impressive things, of course.
It's
now,
like
I got to say,
it's like when we and now Chris went to this one. We did Walt Garrison, in his place.
I did.
And it was like going in the museum.
I bet. Well, he's got cowboy stuff, and he's got cowboy stuff, and real cowboy stuff.
He had stuff that he's whittled.
Right.
Well, we went into that. I've got like 3 or 4 of those. He keeps every time I'd see him, he'd give me one. Right. I've got all this.
It's works of art in there. That's right. Yeah.
Hey, by the way, I spoke for like 2 minutes just talking to Gene. And he couldn't understand the word I said, so he goes. I was in the wrong ear, so I had to repeat myself all over again.
Walt Garrison's front door was impressive in itself.
Mm-hmm. The whole house was
log cabin.
Log cabin. But his front door is it's all his friends' brands, like their farm brands,
the Iron Band, the brands.
Nice.
So it's all pressed into his door. So he has all these brands on his door.
And it was
I didn't notice that.
It was a log house that they build remotely, take it apart, and then bring it and restructure it.
Wow!
And you know how he got that? You know how he got that house? It wasn't from making money in the NFL.
No, it was from Skull.
The Skull commercials that he did.
He made more money. He said.
Oh, I'm sure he
it was
did.
American Tobacco
people made more money back then than they made on the
American
field.
Tobacco or whatever it was. He told a story. I know we got to go about when they were at training camp in Thousand Oaks, right? And they needed some extras to ride a horse for some John Wayne movie, right? And he said at one point they were close, and they came right into training camp in Thousand Oaks on their horses. And he had a rifle that John Wayne gave him, right? And it was like a real, not a replica. It was a real deal, and he's got it in this case and everything. He had saddles on these wooden horses, and it was amazing, just absolutely amazing.
That's crazy.
And he's a one of a kind.
Well, I'm sorry I started all this.
That's all right.
Now I guess
That's good.
It was good stuff.
All right. So that does it for week 1 of OTAs. No telling what Mickey will have on his legal pad after he observes another practice next week here on Mick Shots.
Go Mavs and Cowboys. Please, Mavs.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, guys?